Before we start, I'm not an expert on Firefly. This video is me playing around with it, trying to make something that looks like clip art. Um, some people think of clip art as an SVG file. Other people think of it as uh, being able to be a PNG file as well. The idea that there's transparency to some of it, so that wherever you place it on the document shows where the transparency of the clip art is. If that makes sense. Um, so I think as long as you save what you make as a, let's say, as a JPEG and then save it as a PNG file, you'll end up with clip art. So that was one of the things I wanted to say. The other thing is I got a bit complicated as the video went on because I wanted to show how there's a style reference feature, and there's one of the baked in options for the style of an image is to dictate this will look a bit like clip art, and that bit's relevant in the video. But then I wanted to show you that you can upload your own style reference. So you could upload something that you think looks like clip art to tell Firefly that you want the picture it makes to resemble it in its drawing style. And I think that was excessive. There's no need for that because Firefly already has something you can click on that looks a lot like clip art anyway. So don't be thrown by that. And then after I made the video, I thought to myself, when I was comparing Illustrator, which is for making clip art, with Firefly, I was thinking to myself that Illustrator made such a generic um, piece of clip art for me. It's a chemistry lab flask. And I thought if someone used Illustrator, used its generative AI, where you type in a prompt and say, make me a flask, a science flask, probably everything will be very similar except for a few pixels. And I guess you could say the same of Adobe Firefly too, that if you ask it to do something, there'll only be so many ways that it's going to draw it. Um, and so to different people, they'll have images that technically are different, but to the human eye, they're basically the same thing. And it's got me thinking about copyright, and maybe Adobe Firefly is the way to go because it so it's so creative that it can add aspects to the image that make it more unique. Anyway, that's enough of me. Let's get on with the video. This video is about using Adobe Firefly to make clip art. I think that Adobe Illustrator is the correct way to work with vector graphics to make clip art. But if you want to make an image that's quite simple in nature and you don't have Illustrator and you're happy to save it as a PNG file and use it, then you could have a go using Adobe Firefly instead. This video is about using Adobe Firefly to make clip art. I was just searching online for Adobe Firefly and clip art, and I just couldn't find a nice video to watch, or the search engine just didn't understand what I was talking about. So I'm going to have a go at using the text to image feature of Firefly to create clip art. So as you might already know, we've got these different features on Firefly, one of which is text to image. So that's the feature I'm using. And so obviously I want clip art. And then I've got a list of words which I'd like clip art for. Science. So I'm going to put clip art science. See what happens. Prompt is too short. Describe what you want in more detail. If you'd like, what did that say? If you'd like something, I don't know. Let's try it again. Clip art science. Well, that's really messy. That's not what I meant by clip art. Was something really concise. Um, anyway, after a successful search, there's more things to look at here. And although it doesn't look like there are many things here, there's stuff below. I can just figure out how to get to it. I'm going to click into this area here, then use the down button on my keyboard. All these different features. Effects. What's popular? Techniques. Color and tone. Hmm. It's not so much the color and tone that I'm interested in, it's the style of drawing. I want the style to be clip art. So, gonna scroll back up. That just collapses style, which isn't much use to me. Expand style again if I can. Just the intensity of your photos. Don't know what that's about. Oh, that's about composition. Composition is where I give an example image for it to get inspiration for where in the picture to frame the object. The style is where I would give it an idea about the palette colors to use. So these examples here are more to do with a palette style, and maybe it's to do with a drawing style as well. In which case, if I was to upload some clip art, or to select this thumbs up to say I want something very basic in nature. Let's see what that does. Clip art science. Um, so yeah, that's more interesting to my mind. It's produced something with a lot less distraction. It's still distracting though. I'd really like there to be clip art science, single stereotypical object. That's getting a bit closer, isn't it? Because there's not much noise on this. And it does look like something to do with science. I'm just going to use this edit feature here to say generate similar. So this will stay, but here, here, and here will be variations. And I would say on balance, this is the one I like. So I would download that. Do I want to do more with it? No. No, I'm really happy with that. I am happy with it, but I can't help but wonder if there's a way to do something simpler. Stereotypical object, I don't know if it's clever enough to do something in two colors, but I'll say in two colors. Not sure what to make of that. I'm going to say single, simple stereotypical object in two colors.
like this one. So I'll download it by clicking download. I'll click it again, I'm not sure if it's saved. Now it's downloaded. And then I'm going to use this pencil icon to generate similar. Yeah, that's really good. That's quite noisy, whereas this seems to me at least to be a simpler image to memorize. So I'm going to download that one. Looking good. And then just because I'm curious, I wonder what would happen if I click generative fill. Is that basically what I'm already doing, or is it something else? What does add do? What does remove do? I mean, add, there's something going on here. I've got a brush. So let me just enter a prompt here. Fire, generate. Doesn't look like a fire to me, but that does. And if I took that into Photoshop, maybe I could sort of move this around some more. Well, yeah, that's interesting. And that it drew it where I used that brush, but I would like to cancel and reset. Let's see what remove does. I wasn't too keen on that bauble there. What happens if I remove it? Hmm. The image becomes even simpler, which is how I think of clip art. I always think of it as being something that it looks like the topic, but it didn't seem to take a lot of lines or curves to make it happen. I wonder what pan does. Wow, that's amazing. And then expand. So let's turn it into a landscape. Click landscape. And now it wants to know how to fill all of this in. If I just click generate, then I think it would do a very simple filling in, which it has done. I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to say fill it with a laboratory. I know I'm moving away from the clip art theme, but this is fun. Well, it was fun. That doesn't look like a lab at all. I think what I'll do is I'll make this wider by dragging it here, give it space to make a lab happen, see if that helps. And science laboratory with shelves, help it out a bit. Interesting. Anyway, that's it. If I had to summarize, I'd say the prompt should have the word clip art in it. Simple. Single was useful, I think, for making it realize I don't want a lot of things in the image. and I would definitely use this again, although to be fair, I'm not sure that it actually made clip art. It got close to making clip art, but I'm not sure that it did make clip art. So maybe there's another style that could be used. Um, I want to jump back. So instead of using back on my browser, I'm going to use this back button so that I was going to say so I don't lose all my work, but I appear to have lost all my work. um, I've got a hunch that Illustrator would be a way to make clip art, but that's something I would have to study another day. The aim of this video is to use Adobe Firefly to do it, and I don't want to, whether we call it scope creep. So what I'll do is I'll go back to text to image and I'll try to remember aspects of what I asked for. Something like that. Generate. And that's just to get me to this menu again so that I can experiment with something. So earlier I made an image that I liked. So in composition, I'm going to upload that image. Downloads. Was it this thing? Find out in a second. That looks like it. And so now I'm going to use the same prompt, but I'm also going to try and get some clip art to use as a reference, because I'm not sure if it really understands what I mean when I say clip art. So going to be a bit, I don't know if it's being naughty, but if I go onto Google and go to Wikimedia Commons, but what I can do is take a screenshot of something. So on Wikimedia Commons, I'm going to search for a tree, which has got nothing to do with the science lab. But I'm going to say tree clip art. I'm going to find something that looks like clip art, such as this tree, but I really need to filter on the license being no restrictions. Okay, so this tree here looks like clip art to me. So does this one here. So I'm going to print screen. It's just different people have different ways of copying things to their clipboard. But anyway, got this on my clipboard because I think in reality it's probably an SVG file and nothing on my computer knows how to display an SVG file. Tree. Okay, close that. And then jump back to wherever we were in Firefly. Okay. And just as a recap, I uploaded the composition. That's the sort of picture I want, but I want to give it a style to draw in. So I'm saying do a similar style to the tree, because that looks like clip art. Then generate. So what have we got? We've got something with the colors of the tree. It's interesting. And I wonder, how did it know to make these things red and the rest of it green? Perhaps the conclusion is vector clip art, simple single stereotype science object. Yes, with the Christmas tree as a reference style. No, still too complicated. Okay, there is no the the what is that flask? I don't know. The flask is not sitting on anything. Ugh, that's not good. Okay, but then remember we do have tools. So generative fill, I could click on remove. I could clean up in Photoshop anyway. So there's no need really to use this as the tool for cleaning up at the end. I was just interested to do it. Actually, I don't really like these balls. Don't know why they're there. I did chemistry at school, and at no time did I have red bubbles in one of these funny bottles. In fact, I don't think we had these either, whatever that's meant to be. Okay, remove. Yeah, that's much better. I'll say keep. It's got a lot more simplicity now. And like I say, in Photoshop, I could sort of tidy it up a bit. Okay, I said keep, but how do I go back to the main menu or to the, how do I download it as an image? I'm scared to press this button because last time it took me to some place I didn't want to go to. What does select background do? Ooh, that's good. That's really good. Well, just because I'm a bit worried about losing everything, I'm just going to use the what happens if I right click, save image as. Oh, it's thinking about it. Let's go into pan mode. Right click, save image as. Don't seem to be allowed to. Well, I'm going to print screen. Just grab this as I want it. All the way down to there? No, I want it really simple. Like that. And then in one of my editors, I can just paste it in and save it as simple bottle. So is that clip art? Not really. Right, let's see what this back button does now. Something about clip art is that it has transparency behind it, and then someone drags it and drops it onto a document. And this PNG file doesn't have transparency. So in the free software paint.net or your typical image editor, you can use a wand tool, click where you would like transparency, and use the tolerance to make it figure out better what needs to be made transparent. Otherwise you'll have this white bit remaining. But if you do it too much, it can enter into the shape that you want to keep. So here it's surrounding the shadow. So the shadow will go, which might not be a bad thing, but I'm reducing the tolerance so that the shadow has a chance of hanging around. Press delete, and that checkerboard pattern means that that will be transparent if I place it on top of another, if I put it into a document that is happy to work with a PNG file. Don't know how to save it as an SVG file, unfortunately. No advice on that. I can use the eraser to work on things as well that I might not like. So like I say, this isn't making clip art as such, but it's making something with a lot of the characteristics of clip art. I'll click save, and that's done. This video is a follow-up to my attempt to use Adobe Firefly to make graphics that look like clip art. And I thought Illustrator is probably how people do it best, because it can save files as SVG files. And I think that VG vector graphics is what clip art is all about. So I'm going to do a new file. I don't know Illustrator at all, but I'm hoping that because of all the generative AI these days in the Adobe products, maybe I don't need to know what I'm doing. Let's find out. A4 letter or web large. Well, I don't want anything that big. I would have thought 4 centimeters. Using my maths powers, that's 40 millimeters width and 40 millimeters height. So I'll create that. Create. Go into here. What I want, a science flask. The supercore stopper is blue. The liquid is green. Style reference. I tried that earlier. It got me into a mess. Effects. Shall I? Let's click there. Ah, okay. I don't think to add effects actually. Color and tone. Number of colors. Oh, that's really good because I only want there to be 2 colors and for it to exist maybe on a transparent background. So yeah, 2 colors for my blue and green. Although what color it's going to be for the flask itself, I don't know. I'm going to click generate. You can create in blah blah blah. You must have the rights to use any third-party images. Wow, it's really thinking about it. If it was me, I'd just draw a little flask and a stopper and liquid and then use a colour fill, but I'm just add a new graphic by creating a rectangle where you want it to appear. Oh, that is fantastic. It's so much better than work that I was doing in Firefly, because Firefly had too much art style in it. Mind you, maybe if I had to use Adobe Firefly better, I'd have got something more like this. But yeah, this is really nice. And then of course I've got my 4 centimeter. Oh, I've messed it up. The ratio. I'm going to undo that. If I press Shift on my keyboard at the same time I try to make it bigger, it does it in proportion. I learned that watching a Photoshop video, so that's really nice. The way I can use the same in another Adobe software. I'm going to save this. No, I want to save it on my computer. Downloads. It's got a funny extension, star.ai. So I've got Illustrator plus one. Um, I'll just say yes to whatever it's saying there. I don't really understand. And then I'm just wondering if this is like Photoshop, where export is a way to do a different file. So I could do this as a PNG. So I'll just put PNG in the title to help me. Now, over in my downloads. Hello, over in my downloads. Clicking on it, I'm just not arriving at my downloads. Don't know why. File, close all. I'll get out of this now. And then, can I go to my downloads? Okay. Open up the ping in paint.net. That's interesting. That's what I imagine clipart would be like. It's got a transparency to it. Reopen my recent file. This thing. That's not a vector graphic. I'm going to reopen in Illustrator my AI Adobe Illustrator AI file, which when I opened it in when I opened the PNG file that I made, it opened with this transparency here that you don't obviously see in this software. There's obviously a lot more to learn about this software, but as a first pass for someone in a bit of a rush to try to make a vector graphic, I think it did a very good job. There's a screen in the video where I was struggling to save the image. This is a special edit screen where you can remove or insert features. Like I could put some drops of liquid here by drawing where I want the drops of liquid, typing drops of liquid, generate. And once it's done that, I am unsure how to save it. In fact, none of these attempts look all that nice, really. But I'll go with this one. Okay, so let's say that I like this and I want to keep it. Download up here. That's how to save it. Okay. But then, did I create similar? I don't see a way to go back to the screen from which we came. And this back button I've had problems with. It's just gone back to the main Adobe Firefly menu. So let's use this button instead. Yeah, that's what I should have done in the video. Okay, now we're ready to go.